Hey everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I've got my service guy working on the furnace, and what we have here is a brand used thermopride oil furnace. And before putting it into use, you want to make sure that things are clear and good. New oil filter and the lines are bled, gaskets and insulation in place. So what he found in doing this is this little cross X stuff is insulation, and it's a special ceramic insulation that is basically fire resistant or fireproof, and it's supposed to go above and below this burner outlet, and it protects your burner from overheating. Front covers off, the upper and lower, they call it mounting plates. That's what he's working on here. And that gives you access to the area where the combustion chamber is. Now the combustion chamber is that right down there, and it's a two-piece, almost like fire brick section, and it's strapped together. And then, you got a flashlight down here? Mm-hmm. Where's that outlet right there needs to be insulated, and it will help protect this from premature failure. Mm-hmm. So, because it was brand used,
somebody didn't know what it was and took it out.
Yeah.
So, I tested it. I've run the thing just for a little bit, not having that in there, but I don't have the cover on. It's got full flow, so it was keeping. I tested it, but we ordered this, and now we'll put that down in there. Basically, what you do, you put it up to the top of your combustion chamber, which is here, which sits inside of your heat exchanger. It says in the book, don't put it around the back of the combustion chamber, just up in this cavity, and that keeps your transformer, your primary control, your gun tube, everything cool. And everyone that we've ever had that was a thermopride had it, but for some reason, I don't know, when we got this, it was in pieces. This was off the burner. The pump was off. The burner was out. The plates were off. Everything was gone. So somebody had it apart, couldn't figure it out, gave up on it, something, and now I put it all back together properly. And what it ended up, it was a bad pump, is what their problem was. So the pump was bad, so now I replaced that. So now we'll put this in. You put it in loose. I don't know if you need to wear gloves. It looks pretty mild, but I don't know. It's ceramic. It's probably the new replacement for asbestos, really. Non-asbestos. So you just put this down in there loose and fill that area in.
And basically what they've sent us, it seems more like it's blanket style, and you need to tear it apart and put it in real gentle, real loose, so that it fills in that cavity. Do not mush it and pack it down. Yeah. They basically sell them by the pound or cubic feet, and it said 6 to 8 cubic feet for 1 pound. Not available local anywhere. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't, help the guy in heating and air conditioning to sell you his supply, because then he's just got to order more.
It'd be hard to measure it. I don't know how you'd weigh it.
So this is a good do-it-yourself thing instead of calling in a guy to do how they have like the yearly checkup service. While the yearly checkup service doesn't include things like this, so then you start getting add-ons. This was under $18 on eBay, and about $30 through supply companies for the same quantity. So what would you normally do in that yearly service?
What would I do? Change the filter from the tank. This tank at this house is in the garage, so I don't ever like filters out. If your tank's in your basement, put your filter on your tank away from the burner. Sometimes I've mounted them on a wall on a nice bracket. But if your tank's in your garage, or if your tank's buried, you have no choice. It's inside. There's 3 gaskets. There's a filter element. There's the main gasket here. your bleeder screw, if you use that, has a little gasket, and your rod that pulls the canister tight has a gasket. A lot of people never even switch these, but they do get hard and brittle, so they come with the filter. Most people don't even know there's a pump strainer. You take these 4 bolts off and pop this cap off, and I'll show you what one looks like. This is the one that came out. They only cost $1. You can clean these with carb or brake cleaner. That is a stainless steel mesh. It actually lasts forever, but if you have this one, I just switched it out. I'll probably clean this and save it, but that's in there. And a proper service, you'll want to get a good flame, you want good pressure. So you'll put a port. I have a pressure gauge. You want to check your pump pressure. This one was nothing because that's what their problem was. Check your electrodes. Check your transformers. Change the nozzle. Even if the nozzle looks good, just take it out and switch it, because the fuel oil actually starts making the orifice out the end of the nozzle bigger as the year goes on. So then you get these big driplets of fuel and it burns poorly. It's called a long flame. And your combustion happens later and later up in the heat exchanger. So some of your combustion is happening too late and it's being pulled out the pipe by the draft. So a good nozzle every year actually is free. You can run them for 10 years if you want with good oil. They'll never plug, but you just keep burning more oil.
So what is like the average cost of a nozzle?
Like $3.
Okay.
I mean, if it
so it's worth doing it.
If it saves you 1 gallon, and that's the long flame is another reason why you want your filter inside the house, never in an outside tank in your yard. This tank, like I said, is in the garage. I didn't even want it in that because the warmer your oil is, the better it atomizes. Because basically what this burner is doing is almost switching your fuel oil into gas. It's completely vaporized and then lit on fire, because fuel oil will not burn on its own. That's why it's so safe. So your nozzle, and clean everything out. This particular furnace, if you show them right here, if you take this silver cover off, there's 2 clean outs, one on each side of the heat exchanger. If there's any soot or anything at all, you can run a hose around, you vacuum that out. When guys come out for like $100 and some and basically watch it run, do nothing, it's just a rip-off. They're not checking how strong the transformer is, because a weak transformer might get weak for a year or 2 before it finally dies. Well, that could be caught in the fall or summer. If it's not performing, you can just switch it out. Maybe somebody might not want to pay for that. If somebody said, hey, this is going to fail eventually, but you can't predict when, you can catch that stuff in the summer if the person's willing to pay. If your primary is clicking on and off, it's going to fail. If the serviceman, maybe it's been doing it for 6 months and you don't even know it, and it starts doing that during a checkup, you just switch that. But there's lots of things to check, but the worst of the worst, just go down in the basement, watch it run for a few minutes and say, you're all set. And they might crack open the bleeder and see if there's pretty good oil flow, and then assume the filter's good and the strainer's good. But these things are so cheap that should be part of it. Okay.
And these are mostly mechanical furnaces, this brand?
Mechanical.
Not electronics.
Oh, yeah, this one is, it's not the digital primary, and it doesn't have the little, if you have a little tiny transformer instead of this big one, I don't like those. Those don't run all the time. This transformer runs the whole time your furnace runs. So if you're in a storm, and literally a huge storm will reverse your draft and blow your flame out, that can't happen with these, because this is your electronic ignition. It's just going to keep it going no matter what. The newer ones, they have a small transformer because they only run for a few seconds. And then the idea is the oil burning in the chamber lights the oil burning that's coming in behind it, and you don't need the spark. And that's true most of the time in okay conditions. But there's lots and lots of no heat calls and froze up houses in the winter because a storm blew the transformer out. It locks you out on reset, and you have no heat. There's nothing there to restart it. So I don't like them.
So when people say they're hitting reset over and over and nothing's happening,
that wouldn't be how that worked.
I see.
If the wind blew out the modern burners and you hit the reset, it would be going again just fine. But if the wind blows it out, you don't have any spark to relight. It just happens. So I don't like them. This is all the old stuff. You have a, an old limit switch and fan control up there. This is just the old stuff. So it's very simple, and it's actually less trouble-free.
So in his case, he's already put in a new gasket where the burner mounts on the face.
Because the burner was right off.
It's a white felt gasket.
I don't know what it is. It's this stuff, really.
Ceramic.
Something.
So, yeah, basically, he's getting this all going, and the order came in for this. So we wanted to get this kind of buttoned up. I'll just give you a shot here real quick.
I found furnaces where the whole front cover and everything's all black and burned, paint's burned off, and it needed this stuff put back in.
So he's been working on sheet metal to get the cold air return hooked up. He got this all in, everything that was open here. He fixed that situation. So it looks pretty good. Pretty good for a not pro guy. He grew up with...
Just a guy.
Did you have oil heat your whole life?
Oh, yeah.
And then he delivered heating oil to people all the time that would let their systems run out. So he had to learn to do basic maintenance on them to get them going so that they wouldn't have to do a service call to the HVAC company also.
Or
so
if they weren't out of oil, just fix the furnace for free.
Yeah, simple stuff.
That's why you end up learning how to do it, is to do it for free for people.
Keep your customers, your fuel customers going.
You don't even tell them. You just say you're all set.
Yeah. I did you a real big favor here.
No, none of that. Just you're all set. See you later. When you're 90 years old and your living was made back in the day when you worked hard, you made $45 or $35 a week, and you saved all that money. That's why you got to help the old people out, because that's what inflation does. The older you are, the worse inflation is, because a $600 quickie repair bill on a furnace, if they saved their money and put it in the bank at low interest or whatever they did with it, so think about how long they had to work, Social Security aside and all that, the actual $500-600, they work 2 months to make that, and a guy will come and take it from them in 15 minutes. So if you can help them avoid that, if it's something simple, that's why you do it, because of they're in bad shape because of inflation. Because the money's not the same anymore.
It sure isn't. So, you're about a pound there?
Yeah. I'm just I might want to go back down in there. I don't know if I'm just this is kind of what you'd say a dry run. I'm just kind of seeing how it's going to turn out, because I don't know if I really got it under the burner tube very well yet. Okay. But however, it's going to end up. Yeah, I needed to get more in there. A 1 pound container is going to turn out to be perfect. So that's probably why that's probably for good reason. That stuff. So I'm glad I put gloves on. Look at all this. See, there's little crystals of stuff. Yeah. So I'm glad I wore these, because that's not natural.
So wear gloves, use your own caution and sensibility. Don't, have little children helpers, and then you'll be all set. So that will prolong the life of this. Now, a lot of people will pull that out because they don't understand, because it's dark colored like this, but that doesn't mean it's bad or not doing its job. It's just collected some soot over time, right?
I'd like to have a new gasket, but I don't.
Uh-huh.
When you buy combustion chamber kit, it comes with this and this lower plate where your burner mounts. That was perfect, but this is a little rough, but I don't have one. I don't have anything to make it out of.
Well, and the kits I saw online were running upwards of $100 to $115. So that's why we did it this way.
What?
It said it was a combustion chamber kit.
With the combustion chamber?
I don't know.
Because that'd be cheap.
I don't know.
mean, that's if it's the combustion chamber and like the band that holds the two pieces together and the gasket. I mean, that'd be.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that fire brick portion also or not, but you know. We do everything as frugal and cheap as we can, and that was the purpose of showing and sharing you with this video, to save you the money of blowing out your electronic parts from them overheating, from not having that insulation there. So he's just going to button this all back up, and we've saved some money and spent $17.48 or something like that.
$17.27, I think.
Okay.
Well, a transformer. If you overheat, especially with your front cover on, when I tested this, I didn't have any of it on, so I knew it was as cool as I could be. But, yep.
So, save your money, don't damage your other mechanical parts, and have your insulation in place. Right?
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.